Yo, what is up, egoist, and welcome back to the kingdom. As y'all could see, today's video is going to be part 2 of what if Isagi had a decoy weapon. If you guys did enjoy the first part, I hope that y'all enjoy this part too. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, put some comments down on other videos that you guys would like to see come out of this channel, because we obviously always need some more ideas, just so we guys can actively have some say into what we do. We obviously have some vids that we already are planning on doing automatically afterwards, but if we see any actual videos that we actively like, we'll use them. We'll always use them. Make sure to check out the links in the description so you guys can check out our channels and even check out whatever else we have down there. We also, as I said, we have channels that we do for our own selves. We have our own separate what if channels if you guys do want to see more consistent blue lock what ifs and everything else like that, more daily kind of. Check out what our other channels and you guys could have a good other portion of videos to watch from there. But if you guys do enjoy this, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, but let's get into the video. So where we actively get this started, we're still a little before the actual first match against Team X and Barrow's team, but we're going through the actual motions of exactly what happens afterwards. Obviously, Kira stayed in, so we have it to being where Isagi is just kind of developing his own chemical reaction with Kira. He's developing his chemical reaction with the people that he finds the most useful from exactly what he was able to see during the tag match. He's very good at being able to see exactly who's going to be useful to him and who's not going to be. And whoever is useful to him, he uses to the best capability of their own potential. But the people that aren't going to be useful, he doesn't really bother with. He uses them if he needs them for the moment, but it's not like they're going to be his main priority, his main focus. They're just there and tools that could be used. So we see him gaining and making an actual pretty good chemical reaction with Kira and Bachira as they're working. It's a chemical reaction where they're basically set up to have Kira be the main person that everyone else is also going to be looking for. He's going to be that kind of person that is Isagi's number 2. Isagi's the decoy, so he's going to be drawing a brunt of the attention, but Kira's going to be right there beside him to be able to be the person to Isagi would pass to the minute that he knows that he's gained so much notoriety and so much attention on the field that somebody else is not going to be looking for him, as that's exactly what he's planning on doing. That's why Bachira is there as the kind of middleman. If Isagi can actively find a way to score, Bachira passes it to him. But the minute that everyone's focusing all of their attention on Isagi, Bachira passes to Kira. And Isagi thought that they probably should get a few other people on there so they don't have just everyone focused on either Isagi or Kira, and they kind of separate their attention between those two, which is why Isagi made and started creating a bond with Kunigami too, because he saw Kunigami's strength in his kick. And so he was like, yeah, this guy probably should be good too. So he involved him into that chemical reaction too. As we get started with that first match, since there's already a chemical reaction between at least 4 of the players, it's honestly very simple for them to get started. Isagi doesn't pass automatically because he knows and understands Ego's reasoning towards the way that this is going to be played. He knows that there's supposed to be chaos around, so he knows he doesn't want that, and he doesn't want to deal with that automatically. He knows everyone else is going to be gunning for their own positions and own plays and everything else like that, but he's already built a pretty decent repertoire with at least a few of the other people. So as soon as he gets a little farther out, he passes it straight to Bachira, and Kunigami and Kira both come running from the back, acting like they're in perfect unison. They all know exactly what to do. Obviously, they haven't made any actual moves and actual strategies together yet, but they're working perfectly enough that they're knowing exactly what they need to do. They're perfectly in unison in exactly how they need to move. As soon as Bachira gets a little farther up, he passes to Isagi, so Isagi could actively start gaining some attention. He's gaining some attention as soon as he possibly can. So Bachira is able to make that pass to Isagi, but Barrow's already there trying to take that ball away from him. Isagi's able to actively get past Barrow just barely, but he ends up shooting the shot and making it, yes, but Barrow's obviously quite honestly annoyed, because the fact that Isagi was able to actively get past him was just something that's a little confusing. But now that Isagi's made that first shot, people are at least putting their attention towards him. The match goes on, and it goes on with Isagi making one singular more shot just to make sure that everyone's attention is fully on him. And then that's exactly when he starts changing the course up a little bit, changing the tempo up a little bit, just to the point that he needs to. He first has Batra pass the ball to him, and then he starts making his move towards it. He's getting to the point where like Boro's really getting pissed off right now, and Boro's focused completely on Isagi, not even focused on anybody else. And so Isagi's using that determination and that momentum that Boro's using on him to, as soon as he's about to get very close to Boro and to the point that Boro could actually steal the ball, he passes it straight to Batra, which in turn passes it almost immediately to Kira. Kira's able to make a shot because no one was even noticing that he was there. Everyone was focused so much on Isagi that everyone wasn't even bothered by any person on the field. And then he does it again for the next one. Everyone's expecting Isagi to shoot, but then instead he passes it to Batra, which in turn passes it insanely quickly. Like Batra knew exactly where everyone was because he's kind of paying attention to where the other people are, because he told them just to stay in front of him and he'll choose exactly who to go to. There was at least a little small amount of people on Kira, so he chose, you know what, Kunigami's turn. So that's exactly what he does. Pass to Kunigami, and now that people are noticing that there are actively other people that are going to be able to make shots, Isagi makes the next 2 shots himself again. So Isagi's made a total of 4 shots, and Kira and Kunigami were able to score 1 each, but that was the point. Isagi's using himself as a decoy so he could push attention to other people, but he's still a striker. He's still an egoist, so he would prefer making a majority of the shots himself, but he knows the minute that people are too attention-seeked on him, he's not going to be able to get anything done, so he knows when and when not to pass the ball around. The match eventually ends with that score of 6 to round 2 because Boro was able to make 2 shots by himself. But that's really how that first match ends. The next match goes quite a little bit differently because during obviously the intermediary time between matches, Kunigami and Kira obviously thank Isagi for even letting them get a shot in because they could see that he's good enough to get the shots out, but he has this play style, so he prefers to keep it. And everyone's just like really surprised that Isagi is so good. They're very just glad that he's actually doing all of these things, and they're hoping that Isagi can actively incorporate them into their play style. But Isagi just says he just needs to know exactly what they're useful for. If he knows what they're useful for, he knows exactly when to utilize them in the best positioning. He knows when to use them for the best sake of the match and the best sake of the game. As they kind of need to figure out what their weapons are, but they haven't really had that. They don't really have that discussion just at this exact moment yet. They get a little farther in and they really work around just telling Isagi at least one of the major things that they can do. They don't really say like it's a weapon or anything. They just say what they're good at. Guess it's basically they're just explaining what their weapons are, but they haven't completely figured that out yet. And that's like they're not calling them weapons. They're just saying what skills they have. As for that next match, Isagi is really able to dominate because yes, Nico's there, but they still can only focus on so many people at a time. And Isagi having Kira and Kunigami to work with together kind of is limiting all of the movements of Nico's team. Isagi is able to score 2 shots, but then he lets the rest of the match go along where he's letting Kunigami gets 2 and Kira get 2. Batra is just there kind of helping out, and he's able to score 1 shot for himself, which is honestly pretty nice for Batra, but it's just going all out the way that he needs it to. It's being extremely fun for him, if we're being honest, because he really likes exactly what he needs to be doing, and Isagi's having a lot of fun with these matches. It wasn't something that he was expecting, but it's just something that he's ending up doing. He's having some fun, and he's just getting exactly where he needs to go through. This is new for him because he's actually playing with very good people. Normally when he's playing as a decoy, he's obviously gaining the attention on no matter what because he's automatically the best player on a team and no matter where he's been playing before. But now he actually has people that can actively work with him very well, very nicely, and it's just something that he hasn't experienced before in this capacity. As the match goes around, and obviously Isagi's team wins, but Nico's able to get that reckoning from Isagi about not passing the ball unless it's absolutely necessary. Because that's exactly how Isagi plays. He passes the ball only when you need to, and only when you know the person that you're going to pass it to has a guaranteed shot of making it. There's not a chance of it being blocked. There's not a chance of it being intercepted or anything else like that. He only passes when it's absolutely 100% necessary and there's no chance of anything going wrong. As after that, Isagi has been able to make use of most people. He's been telling them where would be the best positioning for them, and if they're not extremely good shooter, and they're not a good, really a good striker, and Isagi doesn't really see them as a striker, he tells them what position is they're going to be playing, and he tells them stick to that. For goalies, he actively ended up switching the bigger guy to go from goalie to Gagamaru. To goalie specifically because Isagi could look at Gagamaru and tell, yeah, he's a goalie material. So that's exactly where he put Gagamaru instead. Yes, Gagamaru has abilities that would be useful, but his goalie abilities are better kept if we're being honest. So that's the person. That's who ends up being goalie, and then he ends up using everybody else in their own way, using their skills. The only person that he was able to get their weapon from is Chigiri, which is honestly getting him annoyed because he would prefer utilizing the people in the best positions and utilizing them in their best placements. But since he doesn't want to use it, it's just kind of pissing him off even more and more because it's just something that he doesn't really get. He doesn't understand why it's just not, tell me what your weapon is, tell me what your abilities is, and then we can get everything dealt with, we can get everything gone through, and we could actively start creating these chemical reactions, whatever they need to do. Yes, it's obviously not really working, but Isagi eventually manages to get past to him before the actual start of the match against the Wanama twins. He's able to get through to him, and as soon as he figures out that his weapon is speed, they know, yeah, this is going to work. Because he was able to get Chigiri to actively open up to what his weapon is after having a pretty decently nice talk, kind of similar to the one that they had. But this time he's actually able to get Chigiri to explain exactly what his weapon is and exactly why he doesn't want to use it. But Isagi gives him some courage and actively gets him to the point where he's accepting of using it. He just doesn't know exactly. He doesn't want to use it automatically off bat. So it still takes him a little bit for him to decide to use the weapon in the match. Not like the entire match, but it takes him a few minutes for him before he decides to get in. He says he'll let Isagi get two shots first, and then he'll actively get into the motion of the match. So that's exactly what Isagi does. Isagi gets the first two shots, and Kyon this time didn't rat them out or anything else like that. It's honestly quite a lot easier since they don't already know exactly what everyone can do. And Isagi's put everyone basically in their best positions possible because he's wanting to utilize them correctly. Yes, if he needs to use them in another way, he'll use them, but he's putting them in their best positions correctly. So that's exactly what he can do for the best sake of his own sanity, for the best sake of his own pride or anything else like that. He's putting them exactly where he needs them. As Raichi's a defender, and he's just putting everyone where they need to be. As soon as Chigiri is able to get ready, Isagi's made his two shots, and Chigiri gets ready. He automatically finally lets go of that things that has been holding him back and starts actively running. Everyone's surprised to see his speed, but Isagi's already ready and passes the ball straight to exactly where he knew Chigiri would be, and Chigiri's able to get a shot off. The match for the rest of it goes so easy. Isagi's just able to pass it to whoever he feels like because he's gained a good team of people that could easily work together and be people that can take with what he needs to do and be able to work perfectly with him. So that's exactly all that he needed, and he's got it. He's got it. As that last match against Nagi and Rayo's team, that's a different story, but we'll get to that in the next part. If you guys did enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I hope that y'all did enjoy this, and I hope that y'all get ready for the next part, which will be out as soon as I can get it out, but I will see you on the next video. Peace.